This video is going to have a lot of different tips. They're kind of short ones, but they are definitely things that you should know, so keep watching this video. The first thing is to practice your slate. Most people don't do this, and you just practice your songs and not your slate. And then you go into the audition room, and the slate is always the hardest part, even for your pre-screens. So when you're practicing your songs at home, like every other time, just practice your slate as well, and practice it being confident, because that's gonna make you a lot more prepared once you're in the audition room, and it'll help take back some of that nervous energy. You'll also be less likely to stumble through your slate, and so you'll look more confident, and therefore you'll look better. Also, practice what you're going to say to the pianist. Again, people don't do this, and then you'll get to the pianist and you want to have the most concise amount of time, but you want to get everything in. And I have had times where I have messed up and said the wrong thing, or I just forgot to say something, and that didn't end up great. So definitely practice what you're going to say quite a few times, spaced out, obviously, not just like again and again and again. And go through the tempo. Definitely practice your tempo, because once you're in the audition room, you're going to be so nervous and you might speed it up. But if you practice it, you're not going to be as likely to speed it up. And don't snap or clap the beat when you're in the audition room. That's seen as very rude. Instead, put your hand over your heart or your chest or whatever, and do the beat like this when you're giving the tempo. It'll help calm you down, and again, it's not as rude. Next, if you choose to change the key of your song and you use like music notes or something, definitely have somebody play through it who is a pianist, because music notes can mess it up. It doesn't always mess it up, but it definitely can, and it's not unlikely at all. And you definitely don't want to run into that problem in your auditions. So just as a precaution, have somebody look over it. Next, make a morning routine for your auditions. I would always, before I went to bed, write down everything I need to do in the morning and how long it's gonna take me, and then I would see what time I have to get up. I would also do this before I would have to go to sleep too, just so I would make sure I'm getting enough sleep, because I would often wake up pretty early, around 6:30 to 7:30, just because I would spend so much time getting ready, not necessarily like getting dressed or anything, but I would warm up for a while, and then I would sing through my songs and do all that, and so that would take a while, and I would steam. So definitely create a routine so you're not late and so you can get sleep. I would also recommend getting a humidifier. They are nice, but if you get one, definitely clean it in between your auditions, because if you don't, then the same air is going through and you're more likely to get sick. Another tip, do your happy song first. This makes it so they get to know you and they get to like you, and then you can go and show them the other side of you and do something darker or sadder. Meditation is also something you should do, especially if you're an overthinker like me. Just sitting down 10 minutes a day, not necessarily before your auditions, but just every day over months and months, just meditation to help you not overthink. This will also help you with your acting and in the audition room, just being present and not thinking about how you sound. Next, keep a journal. I didn't do this, but I definitely should have. It doesn't have to be anything formal, just in your notes app, because sometimes I would go to an audition and I would forget to write down, oh, I need the chord or the note in my sheet music for one song, or I'd forget to ask for it, and then that would kind of cause a little bit of a mess up in my audition. Nothing huge, but definitely something that could be avoided. And I'd be like, okay, mental note, I need to think about that for next time. And I wouldn't write it down, and then I would get to the next audition and make the same mistake because I didn't write it down. Next, composers to avoid: Jason Robert Brown and Adam Guttall. You know, like, you don't want to do Light in the Piazza because that is hard to play. I actually did a Jason Robert Brown song, but it was an exception because the piano music was much simpler. Their music is very hard to play, and you don't want the pianist to not be able to play it, and then your audition suffers because of it. So stay away from their music, unless it's a piece that is an exception. Next, my friend told me about this. It's MCA, my college audition, and you work with people who are performers and they'll help you with your pieces and acting and singing. So you do work in person with them, but you can do Skype lessons. And the really cool thing about this is if you're going to a different state, they'll most likely have somebody in that state that you can work with. So if you need some extra help before your other audition, once you're there, you can get that help and work with somebody. This next one is so important, and you wouldn't think about it, but know reasons why you like the program. This question actually caught me off guard in some college auditions because some places they won't ask you any questions, and in some places they will ask you questions. So make sure you prepare like 3 different things that you like about the program, not just, oh, I like that it has equal parts dance, acting, and singing. Trust me, everybody says that. That's just a generic thing, you know? Have 3 specific reasons. Also, have unique questions. They'll also ask you if you have questions, and as it goes, you most likely don't have questions, but you come up with one anyways because you don't want to not have a question, you know? Something I always asked was, what are 3 words you would use to describe the atmosphere of the program or the school? And they always liked that question and they always had to think about it. I think that's a good question. I would also have another question too, because I don't know, that's not really anything specifically about the program. So I would come with another question. Definitely don't ask what is your favorite part about teaching here or about the school, or what they would change to somebody behind the desk, because every single person asks that. Another question that I think would actually be a really good question to ask is, what drew you to teach at this school? Try it out, who knows? You can also ask about how you're placed with your vocal coach. You can ask about what summer stock help they give, or about like the specifics of their senior showcase. I would have at least 2 ready, again, because you want to look like you have a question, I guess, so that you're interested in the school, but don't have a question that's something that's easily answered by like their page on their website, because you could have just read that and they know that. So, and that is all I have for this video. If you have any questions, definitely leave them down below and I will answer them. And it would be awesome if you could like this video and subscribe if you want to see more, and definitely click this video if you want to see more helpful tips on the audition process. Bye, thank you.